Hi, welcome to my tutorial on adding and subtracting fractions. I've got 4 examples for you. If we have a look at the first one, this one has denominators that are exactly the same. Now this is very easy. We know that from when you're adding fractions you do not add the denominators together. So it's just a case of adding together the numerators to give us 4/6. That's not in its simplest form. It can be cancelled down because 2 is a factor of both 4 and 6. 2 into 4 goes twice, and 2 into 6 goes 3 times. For this second example, the denominators are not the same. We cannot add fractions if the denominators are different, so we need to make them the same first of all. We only need to change the second fraction. We can keep the first one as 2/8. But we need to make the second fraction, this quarter, into eighths. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the 4 to an 8. And we can see what I've done to this is I've had to multiply the 4 by 2 to get to 8. To keep this fraction equivalent, I now need to multiply the numerator, the top part of the fraction, by 2 as well. 2 times 1 gives me 2. Now we can add the numerators together, the top numbers together to give us 4. Never add the denominator, so we get 4/8, which of course simplifies as well. We could halve this to give us 2/4 and then halve it again to give us a half, but I know that 4 is a factor of 4 and 8. 4 goes into 4 once and 4 goes into 8 twice. So our final answer becomes a half. For the third example, we've got to change both of the denominators. 5 and 7 are both factors of 35, so we can change both of these so that there's a denominator of 35. But the procedure is the same for example 2. So all I've done to get the 5 to 35 is I've multiplied it by 7. To keep the fraction equivalent, I need to multiply the top part, the numerator, by 7 as well. 3 times 7 gives me 21. I've multiplied the 7 by 5. So to keep the fraction equivalent, I need to multiply the top part, the 2, by 5 as well. 2 times 5 gives me 10. Now I can add these two numerators together. 21 add 10 gives me 31/35. 31/35 cannot be simplified. 31 is a prime number. For the final question, the example 4, again we've got our common denominator this time as 35, but this time we're subtracting. But the same thing applies. 5 I've had to multiply by 7 to get to 35, so I need to multiply the 2 by 7. 2 7s give me 14/35, and the same with the second part. 7 I've had to multiply by 5 to get to 35, so I need to times the top part, the numerator, by 5, which gives me 5. 14 take away 5 gives me 9, and I do not add the denominator, I leave that as 35. 9/35 is my final answer. So we now need to look at mixed number addition and subtraction of fractions. So if we look at the first one, we've got both these fractions as a mixed number. In order to do this, the way I like to do it is change the mixed numbers into an improper fraction first of all. So here, if we change, basically we're writing 3 1/3 in thirds. So I want to do 3 times the big number by the denominator gives me 9. Add the 1 on the top gives me 10. So 10/3. 3/3 changes to 10/3 as an improper fraction. Let's do the same to the second one. 2 times 4 is 8. Add the 1 is 9. So I get 9/4. Now I've got the same as what I was doing on the previous 4 questions. Basically, we've got different denominators. We need to make these the same first of all. I know that both these are factors of 12, so 12 will become our lowest common denominator. I'm now going to say, what did I do to the numerator, to the denominator, sorry, on this one to get to 12? I timesed it by 4. If I've times the bottom part of the fraction by 4, I need to times the top part by 4 to keep it equivalent. 4 times 10 gives me 40. On the other fraction, I changed the 4 to a 12 by multiplying it by 3. So to keep it equivalent, I need to multiply the 9 by 3 to give me 27. Now I can add these two top numbers together. 40 add 27 gives me 67 over 12, and that's left as an improper fraction. To turn it back into a mixed number, I need to see how many times 12 goes into 67. 12 into 67 goes 5 times, and there's 7 left over. So I'll write 7 over 12. For the second one, we've got a subtraction, but the process is exactly the same, apart from the fact at the end we take them away rather than add the numerators together. So let's change them into an improper number, improper fraction first of all. 4 times 3 is 12, plus the 1 is 13 over 3. And then the second part, 2 times 5 is 10, plus the 2 is 12 over 5. Of course, here our denominators are different. We need to make them the same. So these both go into 15. 3 times 5 gives me 15. I've multiplied the 3 by 5. So I need to multiply the 13 by 5. 5 13s are 65. I've multiplied the 5 by 3 to get me to 15. 3 times 12 gives me 36. If I take these two, the 36 away from the 65, I get 29 over 15. To turn that back into a mixed number, I know that 15 goes into 29 only once, and there are 14 left over, so my final answer becomes 1 and 14 over 15.